What a great day to be here in the city of Lawrence, be a Laurentian, and be proud to be here in the city dedicating these squares. In preparation to Memorial Day, which is Monday, not just a day to be around the barbecue, fun in the sun, and another day off from school, but a day to remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, those veterans and service members who have gone before us, so we could have the freedom to be standing here in this square this morning, dedicating these squares in honor of these veterans and service members. My name is Francisco Urena. I'm the Director of Veteran Services for the City of Lawrence. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce the VFW Post 8349 from Methuen, Massachusetts. They're all going to lead us in the national anthem. Dave Goulet.
Detail attainment. Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. The members of the VFW Post 8349 from Methuen, Massachusetts. Let's give them another hand. Thank you. Also present with us this morning is the Patriot Honor Guard honor riders here this morning from the post, the contingency from New Hampshire and also from Massachusetts. Let's give them a big hand of applause. These ladies and gentlemen, most of them veterans, some of them sometimes they're not, but they all choose to wear a uniform, ride and pay honor to fallen service members. Remains of the service members come home. They escort the bodies from the airport to the final destination. So it is quite an honor to have them here this morning, paying tribute to all these service members here this morning. Present with us this morning, we also have the City of Lawrence mayors, Michael J. Sullivan, and we have our City Council President, Patrick Blanchette. Patrick, if you could please join us. Thank you.
Good morning. I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's a great day for the City of Lawrence. I want to thank Director of Veteran Services, Francisco Urena, who does a fabulous job. I've been on the job here as a City Council for 10 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was rather embarrassing showing up to Memorial Day event or Veterans Day events, and Francisco has changed all that, brought all of you folks on board. It's a great tribute to the City of Lawrence that he gives each and every event. As obviously he mentioned, our chief elected official, Mayor Sullivan, I want to thank him for making today possible as well. My fellow city councils, I want to introduce them. Councilor at Large Roger Toomey is here. Councilor at Large Nilka Alvarez Rodriguez. Councilor at Large Frank Moran is here. Councilor from Tower Hill Nick Kalopoulos, District D. City Council from District E, David Abdu, is here as well. Just very briefly, I want to especially recognize the members of the Ordinance Committee. All of these plaques and dedications through the help of family members and those who have petitioned the City Council are the reason we stand here today in the Ordinance Committee and the City Council. It's one of the most honorable things I think we do as councilors to honor our veterans, and especially today as we go through the motorcade, we'll especially honor two people that made the ultimate sacrifice. We also honor other people, families that have been committed here to the city of Lawrence. So as a city council, it's very honorable, and I think it's more than fitting. Memorial Day, nickname to Memorial Day is Decoration Day. As we all know, when we go up to our grave sites, later on I will go up to visit my father, whose anniversary death is 21 years today, and we'll notice all of the people putting wreaths and flowers on the grave sites in Decoration Day. And how fitting today for the city of Lawrence as these 5 plaques go up to really decorate our city. And it's a true honor to all of us to have the families and those who have petitioned the city to allow us to bear your loved ones' names forever now in the city of Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. And with that, this morning, we are dedicating these squares in no particular order. We are starting off with Alex Jimenez. Alex Jimenez was the son of Lawrence. Alex Jimenez, age 25, was captured by enemy forces in Iraq while on patrol on May 12, 2007. He, along with 2 other members of his military unit, were placed on prisoner of war missing in action status. His remains were recovered 14 months later, along with those of Brian Foudy. South of Baghdad, real in the vicinity of where they were captured. He was assigned to the 2nd Brigade, 10th Mountain Division at Fort Drum, New York. Alex brought this community together in the time where the community wasn't as close as it now is. Unfortunately, we all kept our hopes during the 14 months of wait that we would receive better news. But unfortunately, we did not, and we honor today Alex Jimenez and his sacrifice. At this time, I'd like to introduce Wendy Luzon, who is representing the family here this morning. She is a cousin of Alex. Unfortunately, the father is still in the Dominican Republic and wasn't able to make it here in time. Also, I'd like to introduce Jim Waring, who is an advocate for the city and for the veterans from the city of Methuen. Jim Waring. He became a real close member to the Jimenez family. They now talk perhaps every other day with Andy in the Dominican Republic, and we thank Jim for his contributions to better help veterans and support of the Jimenez family.
Well, on behalf of the Jimenez and Duran family, we are very thankful for this. Thank you for all of you that are responsible. It's an honor, and I just wish that Andy could be here to see it. He's in Dominican Republic, but he's very happy, and Gene is going to tell us more about that.
I spoke to Andy this morning about 9 o'clock in the morning, and his family is gathered at the exact moment that we're going to be here. I told him 10 o'clock. They're going to be sitting in a room praying, and their thoughts are in the city of Lawrence. Andy would like me to relay that he wants to thank Mayor Sullivan and Francisco Urena and the city of Lawrence for all the support that they received and their families received for the past almost 2 years now. And he says that his heart is always with Lawrence, and he really appreciates everything that's being done today in honor of his son. And he would just like to thank everyone who participated in all the events for the past 2 years. And pretty much that's it. He's with us today. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If I can have the representative from the Patriot Honor Guard, who has a small dedication to present to the Jimenez family.
On behalf of over 165,000 Patriot Guard riders throughout the country, it's an honor to present this plaque to you as a representative of the family. It's a symbol of our appreciation for Alex's service, as well as one of our members out in Washington State was wearing a bracelet. His name is a POW, and there's also a letter there to your family from those people.
The reason why we chose this square, this specific area in the city, was because Alice played t-ball here as a youth in the city. And so we want to remember his presence here, and to all those that come around this area and drive through the city, to remember the sacrifices paid by members of our American forces so that we can now have the freedom to be here this morning. So without further ado, my lovely fiance has a wire here that we're going to.
Is she on the payroll?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Andy Jimenez on the phone. Hello, Andy. Bien, ¿y usted? ¿Ustedes quieren dejar un mensaje de privacidad? Okay, un momento. Andy Jimenez is relaying a message from the Dominican Republic. He's saying to the community, thank you very much for your support during the time of anguish of their family. He is very appreciative, and may God bless each and every one of you all. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Now, we would like to do this in such an orderly fashion. The next square is directly in the opposite corner, right here, following Lawrence Street in Maple. If we could, we're just gonna walk over there. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. If those that cannot hear me or cannot see me, if you want to please step in front so you can. This perhaps is one of the most impressive squares that I've dedicated here in my time in the city of Lawrence. I think in the history of the military, unfortunately, the military does not keep records of members of families, of one family. But for those of you all that did not know the history, the Diodati brothers participated, some of them in World War II and Korea. 9 brothers of one single family, the Diodati family, enlisted in the United States military and answered their country's call to duty. All 9 sons, first-generation Americans, served in the United States military, 6 during World War II, 1 in Korea, and the youngest 2 stateside. The oldest and the youngest were in the United States Army. The other 7 were in the United States Marine Corps, Semper Fi. The locations they traveled were as diverse as Europe, Africa, and South Pacific. Their combined contributions to this country resemble their family's sense of patriotism and the sense of patriotism of this city. If those members that are here present this morning, William Diodati, Frank Jr., Dominic, Peter, tradition it is, and most of you all here are from the Diodati family, representing the family. I don't think it is a paying tribute, but the city council president has a message here that he noticed this morning while he called patrol. So please, Council President.
Yeah, just very quickly, obviously it's a great honor. When we were doing this at the City Council, I got a little nervous because I have coffee at Top Donut every morning. These guys are tough guys. So I said, make sure they're okay with this square, you know, because they're always, you know, they're tough, rugged individuals. But it's an honor. Obviously, it's very, very impressive. But more so impressive, at 6:45 this morning as I was on patrol, members of the Diodati family were out here cleaning this square. Diodati family for taking such pride in this monument, and hopefully we as a city will now keep it as clean as it is here today. But it was remarkable to see that, and I thank you. Thank on behalf of the City of Lawrence.
We want to take any final pictures here before we unveil the square?
Oh, now I'm gonna kill him. John. Oh.
All right, gents.
There. Hey, boy.
Before I unveil this, I encourage any member of this family to pursue a Guinness Book of Record on this, because honestly, the military does not keep track, but it is impressive that 9 members of one single family decided to volunteer and enlist in the military and serve their country proudly and serve this city proudly. And for them, we honor this here this morning. Gentlemen, if you want to please pull. Not enough. Attorney Bob Kelly from the Registry of Deeds. And also the former Veteran Services Director, Robert T. McCann, who served the city proudly. Ladies and gentlemen, any members of the family wish to say any comments?
Yes, thank you very much. Very proud.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never cared for these people before.
Anybody joining again?
Hey, you ready? Oh, God! I'm saving it. Just softly. Please. Oh.
All you guys. Danny, that's it.
Hold it. Get out of the way, please.
Hi, sweetheart.
Chief.
How you doing, Mel? Good to see you. Hold on, nice.
So this specific square here, we're dedicating it to Private First Class Americo Zazzo, United States Army, World War II. Americo enlisted in the Army at age 19, served during World War II. He participated in 5 major campaigns in Normandy, Northern France, the Rhineland, Central Europe, and Ardennes. He was awarded the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 5 Bronze Stars. Americo returned to the city of Lawrence, raised a family. Most of the family members are still here. We'll introduce them here shortly. And became a community activist. His legacy remains as an influence to many of our city leaders today. And with that, note, I'll open the floor to our Councilor Vice President, Nick Kaloflis, who would like to share some words.
I just want to say thank you to the subcommittee of the Ordinance Committee, which I chair. This is an idea that came to me with one of the honors that bestowed some of the people in the city of Lawrence. Rick DeZaza was a friend of mine. He was a political friend and a friend. And we go back to the times of the activity that the neighborhood had in the city of Lawrence. Rick DeZazo was an individual who served his country. And when we was on the telephone, he used to talk to me about the Army. But Nick is not a veteran, but I respect every single veteran in the military that served their country and died for their country. Rick was fortunate to come back, raise a family, and a wonderful family of a large number of children. I don't know how many. But let me just say that once that happened, he came back, he served his country, got the Bronze Stars, or whatever they are, and the idea of coming back into the community. Once that happened, you want to see Lawrence better itself. And it's coming to fruition. We see the many, many good things that have happened in the city of Lawrence, such as the stadium, such as the Little League Park, such as the building, the construction boom that has happened in the city. This was Ricky's desire to do things like that. And his family continues to live in this area. The most appropriate place is where he lived. Now, the next goal for the district council and the councils at large, we got to make this district, the Arlington district, the district B or C, whatever it is, we've got to improve upon it. The urban revitalization is necessary and needed in this area. So, I just want to mention the fact that some of the legacies that Rick DeZazo has left is the fact that he tutored some people. If he did not tutor them, what he did was he insulted the people to make Lawrence better. And he did that. A lot of politicians didn't like Rick DeZazo, but what he said was true. And let me just say, he's done a wonderful thing by serving his country and his city of Lawrence as a community activist. And I thank you very much for doing that on. Thank you.
I personally did not have the pleasure of meeting Amerigo, but I would like to, just listening to the words of Councilor Kaloflis, I just got inspired because the message that he left us is to serve your country, but also come back into your community. Every service member has the option to move wherever they choose after they leave the service, but he chose to come back to the city of Lawrence, and his family still remains here. At this point, I'd like to introduce some of the family members, some of the daughters. Please, if you would like to come forward and share a little bit something about your father.
Before you do that, I just want to introduce Rick's wife, Florence DeZazo, the Ann Sullivan, a relation of Mayor Sullivan, and also the daughter. What's her name?
Susan.
Susan, yes, very good. Thank you, Susan.
My father. My husband lived for Lawrence.
Right.
He believed in it. He wanted it to survive and flourish. And hopefully that will all happen.
It will. It will.
Thank you very, very much.
This time, I'd like to, Florence, if you could still remain here, I'm going to ask you to give me a handle. You just want to pull on that one.
Thank you, I will. Thank you again.
Get to the south side, Francisco, you'll have this down pat, huh? Yes.
Guess we'll give a few minutes for the folks that did not make the convoy to gather here this morning. With us this morning, and please do not applaud as we don't applaud for mothers who have lost service members, is Miss Santina Nicolosi, Pierre Raymond's mother, who we will be dedicating a square here in the next stop. And her son paid the ultimate sacrifice, the first casualty of the Iraqi war on terror, Miss Santina Nicolosi. Many of you all perhaps have heard of Sergeant York. Sergeant York, many of the war buffs, perhaps the military folks, have seen the movie Sergeant York. But what many of you all don't know, that Sergeant York did not do the actions. He was credited for capturing over 250 Germans during World War I, single-handedly. The story is not true because of the sacrifices of Patrick Donahue, one of the other 18, who also assisted. So 18 service members captured 250 Germans. That is true. But this history would later tell us, prior to that, this gentleman, Sergeant York, ended up getting the Medal of Honor, and all the other members of his squad got just brushed in the wind. But because of the advocacy of the family members, members of Congress, members of the House of Representatives, they gave credit to these members, ended up giving them valor and honoring them later on. And that is why we honor him today, along with the other members. Sergeant York went on to do bigger and better things and never really gave credit to those members. But today we give credit to those members because one of them is here from the city of Lawrence, Private Patrick J. Donahue. Patrick was an Irish immigrant who enlisted in the army during World War I. He fought valiantly in France and participated in the Battle of Aragon. He was awarded the Silver Star medals for his actions in defeating a battalion of over 250 Germans with a squad of 18 men. In 2008, the citizens of France unveiled a monument commemorating the 90th anniversary of the battle in Aragon Forest, listing participants of Patrick's unit under their heroic contribution. It is true that there is a monument dedicated to these men. His name is bearing upon this monument. And more importantly, perhaps one that's very touching to each and every one of us members of the city, is that Lawrence, Massachusetts is listed under his name. And it's really impressive that the French government paid tribute to those who sacrificed their lives to give them their freedom, and in fact giving us freedom. We have members of the Donahue family here this morning. If you'd like to share some words.
My family here, cousin Jude, and Danny Donahue, and his wife Judy. And unfortunately, my son is one is in Georgia, the other one is up in San Diego. However, I want to thank the city so much for doing this, for recognizing my uncle. That was a wonderful thing that he did. And I want to thank the city council and the mayor, and especially Mr. Toomey and Mr. Urena. I had given Roger Toomey a little package of all kinds of scraps of paper, and he assembled everything and presented it to the council and saw it through for me. And I thank him very much for this. And I thank Sergeant Urena for all his help too. This is just a wonderful day for Lawrence, and we should be so proud of these guys, starting back 90 years ago. Thank you so much for coming.
Without further ado, if the members of the Donahue family representing here would like to join me. And what better way to honor Private Donahue than at the entrance of what's going to be the new Immigration and Naturalization federal building here in Lawrence, in our own city of Lawrence. And it's very indicating of the sacrifices of men and women, many immigrants, who came to the city of Lawrence not just to serve themselves, to make a better life for themselves, but in turn, making our country better. there was no need for this young man to go into the service, but he had the calling within him to go and serve his new country, the United States of America, and pledge allegiance to the United States and serve his country, do it well, and do a great job, and place his life on the line. Can you imagine 250 Germans ready to die? He's with 18 American men. They decoyed. They were able to decoy in this battle to make believe that there were more Americans than just 18. They were firing from different positions, moving from one corner to another in this forest, making noise, making believe that there were more Americans. And when the Germans began to give up, they began to grab their ammunition. They were running low on ammo at that battle, and they grabbed their ammunition. And with the sake of their ammunition, once one surrendered, all 250 surrendered and or died in between the battles. So we thank Private Donahue and the members of the family here this morning. What a great legacy it will be here for everybody as they come visit this building to become an American, naturalized, or do their business, to remember the sacrifices of veterans from our own city of Lawrence. So thank you very much. As we finish this caravan of dedications of squares, we chose to finish with this one here for in memory of honor Sergeant Pierre Raymond. Sergeant Pierre Raymond was the first casualty of this Iraqi freedom war. It brought the war personal to the city of Lawrence, gave it a face, gave it a sense of it's not just in Iraq where the war is, it also affects us here in the city of Lawrence and in our communities and cities and towns as young men such as Sergeant Pierre Raymond gave the ultimate sacrifice in order to provide us freedom, which we continue to cherish today. And today we honor him here this morning. Sergeant Pierre Raymond, United States Army, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Pierre died at age 28 at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Landstuhl, Germany, of injuries sustained in Ramadi, Iraq on September 15, 2005, where his unit was attacked by enemy forces using indirect fire. He was assigned to the Army's 228th Reserve Force Support Battalion, the 28th Infantry Division out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Pierre died on September 20th, 2005. Here this morning we have, and please hold your applause as we don't applaud for those who have lost their members, Gold Star parent, Santina Nicolosi. If you could please come. And we also have this, the phone. Yes, how are you? David Raymond is also here this morning, Gold Star parent. So if you'd like to, before we share some words, the Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Michael J. Sullivan, would like to share some words with us here this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to reflect just for a minute and just tell you how important I think what we're doing today is. What we're doing today, we've done, we've kind of been caravanning all over the city today, but I want to reflect back to 2005. Francisco is right when you know the United States was in the middle of a war on the other half of the world. We really didn't get anything more than news flashes. It was always on the news every night. And then I remember there was some word that there could have been a Lawrence person that was killed in action, and all the media began to start coming into the city, and rumors were floating around, and nobody really knew a whole lot until it was confirmed that Pierre had passed away in Germany, and it was the first casualty in the city of Lawrence from the Iraqi war. And there's a lot of action, there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of things happening. So it's in the news all the time. And I remember shortly after the funeral, a company called Clear Channel that does these billboards said, we want to help. And they had graciously offered the billboard with Pierre's picture and a nice slogan that the city will never forget. And you know, that was wonderful, but you know, 30 days later that billboard came down. And I remember visiting Santina and Pierre's mom after all of the media died down, and we were sitting right on State Street in her home, and there was a picture of Pierre and the American flag, and she said it would be, you know, it would be nice if the city did something to always remember not only Pierre, but all of the veterans that are have either served in the past or have been lost, like Alex, and killed in action. And then we dedicated a brick over at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Pierre has a brick under the walkway. But I tell you all that because I want to lead up to what's happening today, and I want to tell you how important this fellow is to the future of the city. Francisco came on board not long ago, and he understands that it is so important for us. And I want to also commend all of the elected officials that have been working together on issues like this. That there is nothing more important that we can do in this city. Memorial that you will be seeing in a minute will be here forever. And children, years from now, and adults, people that see his name will always remember that here is somebody that gave his life for us to be standing here. So I have the ultimate respect for the Raymond family and great people, and we feel so bad about what happened, but we feel so good today that Pierre is allowing us to be here. And also the last 4 corners that we dedicated was a true, I think, reflection on the values of what Lawrence, Mass is all about. And Francisco, you have done a phenomenal job, and under your leadership, you know, something like this will continue on in this beautiful city, you know, year in and year out, and we'll be able to honor all of the people that serve. So, Sarge, thank you, and thank you.
Yep. What we're going to do now, we're going to walk right behind us here. We're going to lead the family. We have another dedication we're going to do first. So if we could please make room for the immediate family, then we'll all follow in trace, and we'll walk over there. Yes. At large, Roger Dumy to please join us here. He's been a good advocate of this family as well, and would like to share a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. A few words that I have to say are that this is Raymond and her family and her children. Can't see this thing my wife. This is how I became very much familiar with them. As a matter of fact, Pierre took cancer lessons. So it's a great honor for me today to be able to stand here and to see and observe these memorials being open for the family. We've worked the council approved it, which was a great accomplishment for all of these 5 positions here that happened today, all the memorials that happened today. And it's a great honor for me today to be able to say I am very, very pleased and happy this is taking place. Thank you.
Without further ado, if I could get the immediate members of the family.
Real quick. All right.
girls, and they loved him. And he just thought it was the coolest thing to kind of do that. But when you're 8, you don't think about your dancing teacher and the people who make your city a community. You never really think about the people who take advantage of it, or the people that show up when you need them in happy times and in not so happy times. But there is no way my family can ever say thank you for this day, for when we first got the news that Pierre was hit, for when he passed away, and for all the years to come. We are indebted for your sense of community and just your companionship walking this road with us. So I thank all of you for being here.
Dedication, so thank you very much for you, and thank you for your sacrifice of the Raymond and Nicholas family. Now, if we could follow the immediate family, we're going to the square dedication. If we could make room for the immediate. The reason of this square here, the location of it, is because if you look diagonally, you can see Santina Nicolosi's living room window. She can look out and see her son's memory here, the legacy that he left behind. May he never be forgotten. May we never forget our veterans still continuing to fight to defend our freedom. And may God protect the city of Lawrence, the United States of America. Brothers, any brothers, sisters? All these wreaths that adorn these squares were constructed by volunteers from the Senior Center who took their time with volunteer funds to construct these wreaths to decorate for our ceremonies this morning.
Honestly, this is really great. It's a celebration, and we're celebrating life. And I think everybody else should too. It's a good idea. Thank you all.
This Monday is Memorial Day, and we'll be honoring all our service members, men and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and who have gone before us. Our Memorial Day ceremony will commence at 9:30 at the Bellevue Cemetery on Reservoir Road. I encourage each and every one of you all to please join us for a small ceremony to honor all of our service members, men and women who have gone before us to allow us to have the freedoms that we have today. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you very much to the elected officials who made this possible, and thank you to the sacrifices of the families. Thank you very much for your with these dedications, these family members, Pierre, the rest of our men, will never be forgotten, and each person that passes by here will now know of the name of Sergeant Pierre Raymond.